Please raise your hand if you want to ask questions, no? Kasi ibibigay sa atin ni Sir Ariel mamaya kung sino yung napili na mag-a-ask ng question sa ating sa ating speaker.
Maliit, sabi ko nga kanina sa sa keynote speech ko, pixel. Isa yung maliit na tuldok. Napakaliit natin, pero kaya natin gumawa ng profound na effect. And we can start doing it sa ating mga backyard. So, maging mabuting bata, makinig ng mabuti sa mga payo ng magulang, magsulat ng naaayon sa kung ano ang tama at base sa katotohanan, i-fact check yung mga gusto niyong sabihing mensahe. In that small way, you can influence your fellow students bilang isang student journalist. Yan ang sagot ko.
Okay, thank you very much, Sir JR, on his advice to campus paper journalists or campus journalists natin. And thank you very much as well to our campus journalists from Gland Central Integrated SPED Center, Ms. Pudos. And now let's proceed to the representative from the municipal. Recognize and go ahead, ask your questions na to Sir JR.
Sir, good morning po.
Good morning.
My question po is, in your opinion po, is alert level systems a good replacement for community quarantine systems? Why po? Thank you.
Inuulit ko, ang second part ng question, hindi klaro. So slowly yan.
Sir po. I repeat.
Kasi virtual tayo, oo.
In your opinion po, is alert level systems a good replacement for community quarantine systems? And why po? Thank you.
Replacement for community quarantine system. Replacement. Was it ever a replacement for the quarantine? I don't think it was the replacement. But I think the better question, and I will answer it in the way I look at the issue. Okay? Para sa akin, nagugulan ako sa alert level system. Yung iba't ibang uri ng quarantine classification para sa akin, medyo mahirap intindihin. Alam natin yun kasi as we progress to the pandemic, iba't iba yung mga nagiging pangalan. Community lockdown, general community quarantine. At dahil nasabi mo nga yung alert system, I would say na it's better dahil madaling intindihan yung 1, 2, and 3 or 4 man. So, yun yung opinion ko. The more na we simplify yung mga government policies natin at mga systems natin, mas maganda. So, yung sa sinasabi mong replacement, kasi parang ang pagkakaintindi ko is dalawa eh. Merong pangalan pa rin ng kunwari GCQ at meron pa rin alert level system. So, hindi siya naging replacement eh. Pero, kung akong tatanungin, mas maganda na gamitin na natin yung alert level system na lang. Iba't iba naman eh. Meron ding iba, color, di ba? Meron ding iba, red or yellow or green or whatever color it may be. Pero para sa akin, the more we simplify, na mas maintindihan ng common tao, mas maganda. Yun yung opinion ko. Kasi pag masyado tayong gumagamit ng Ingles at technical na mga salita, minsan mahirap intindihin eh. Minsan sa totoo lang, nagkakamali tayo dahil ginagamit natin yung mga technical na lengguwahe na mahirap intindihin ng mga common na tao. Yun din actually ang ma-observe mo if you notice yung mga terms natin sa weather, ganun din. So, I think dapat panahon na dapat simplify natin dahil ako din pag nagre-report ako, mahirap i-explain. Alright? So, yun yung sagot ko. Okay lang na simplify. Yes, mas mabuti pag simplify.
Thank you po.
Okay, maraming salamat. Our representative from the municipality of Balungon and Sir JR on the issue of the COVID alert level system existing in the Philippines. Now, let's proceed to our next representative from the municipality of Maasim. Again, can we ask another campus journalist from the municipality of Maasim to ask her question? Si Ashley from Kiamba. So can we go ahead with Ashley kung andyan na siya? So papalit lang natin yung order ng ating question and answer. So since Kiamba ngayon, after this one, municipality of Maasim. Ashley, go ahead.
Good morning, sir. I am Albea Pagalan from Kiamba National High School, and my question is, what is your advice to the students and teachers who are having difficulties in adapting the new normal education?
Wow, that's a very good question, Ashley. Ashley, tama ba? Tama?
Alvea po.
Kasi yung nakasulat dun sa pangalan, Ashley. But anyway, okay. Wow, that's a very good question. This is okay. I will share with you the concept of birth pangs. Birth pangs. Anong ibig sabihin nun? Kapag nagkaroon ng isang transition sa isang bagong teknolohiya, hindi maiiwasan na merong mga aberya. Katulad nito, di ba, we're live. May mga issues tayo, technicalities sa internet connection at iba pa, maybe mabagal yung computers natin or nagahang or mabagal yung signal sa atin. Ang aking unang gustong sabihin is this is all part of the process for change. It's something that the Department of Education has to consider as a reality. And I think dahil sa pandemya, bumilis yung ating direksyon, nag-accelerate tayo for this kind of virtual learning system. This is actually something na alam na natin na mangyayari, pero dahil sa pandemya, mas napabilis siya kasi we have no other choice. So, talagang I understand yung difficulty. Ako, sa totoo lang, as a learner myself, may mga disadvantages din naman kasi talaga kapag online learning lang. So, ako ang masasabi ko lang is to really, parang look for ways na lang to cope. That's the only thing the only way I think na kinakailangan nating gawin. And if we feel na alanganin for a person-to-person na classes, lalo na mula sa ating mga management sa DepEd, so maybe we have no choice but to cancel or postpone yung person-to-person or face-to-face classes. I think yesterday, if I'm not mistaken, they canceled it sa Olonga po, sa Zambales, if I'm not mistaken. So pag alanganin, siguro sana yung ating mga DepEd management would try to find a way to postpone it or at least make sure na safe muna to conduct it. Now, dahil no choice tayo sa ating online learning, ang masasabi ko na lang talaga is, we have to just find ways to survive. Ganun na lang talaga siguro. Kasi mahirap din kasi na naiintindihan ko rin naman kasing perspective ng DepEd in the way na kinakailangan natin i-push through yung mga school years natin. Kasi 1 year, imagine ninyo mga students, pag 1 year na hindi nagkaroon ng edukasyon, anong mangyayari sa kinabukasan? Parang sabihin nyo, 1 year lang naman yan eh. Okay lang naman siguro kung wala mo na tayong resumption ng ating education, pero hindi eh. 1 year is 1 year from a generation. So yun yung importance din na kailangan talaga natin i-maintain yung pag-aaral kahit na online learning pa yan. But I do sympathize with everyone. But like what I said, this is all part of the birth pangs of this technology. Hopefully, as we experience more of this kind of setup, maybe half na person-to-person, half online learning siguro as we recover sa pandemic, we would find ways na mas ma-improve yung performance ng ating online learning system. So katulad ng sinabi ko, nasa transition kasi tayo. Lahat ng transition, kahit sa love life, mahirap. Yes.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, at yun po ang pananaw ni Sir JR tungkol sa ating new normal education sa Pilipinas. And thank you as well from Ashley to Althea. Althea pala yung totoong pangalan niya, from Kiamba. And now, we go back to Municipality of Maasim. We have our representative, si campus journalist Lucky Isabela. Go ahead, Lucky. Louie, sorry. Louie. Go ahead, Louie.
Hello, Sir JR. I am from the municipality of Kiamba po.
Again, can we have, ma'am, excuse me po, can we have one representative muna from our, from Maasim, Municipality of Maasim? Si Lauren Del Carmen muna to give equal opportunities po sa lahat ng municipalities na makapag-ask ng question. Again, representative from the Municipality of Maasim, si Lauren Del Carmen. Go ahead.
Good morning, sir, and good morning to all my fellow participants. My question is, what can you say about the other schools which are allowed to have a 50% face-to-face class?
Say that again. One more.
Please repeat your question once again. Campus Journalist Del Carmen. Pakiulit po ng tanong.
My question is, what can you say about the other schools which are allowed to have a 50% face-to-face class?
All right. So this is actually in line with the previous question that was given earlier. So I'll be answering that in the same line of line of idea. So katulad ng sinabi ko, this is all part of birth pangs of this new technology. If you really think deeply about it, the future actually is virtual learning. Talagang ganun talaga. We have no choice. Kahit na may pandemya po o wala, believe it or not, give it 20, 30 years from now, marami nang magiging mga learning centers natin ang focused solely virtually. So going back to my thought on 50-50 sa ngayon, if the school can do, pa sa akin okay lang. Kung na-make sure nila na mayroong social distancing. At I think sa balita ngayon, if you were able to read the news, na pwede nang walang face shield, di ba? Nasa news natin na nirelease, I think, 2 hours before today, sinabi doon sa bagong direktiba na optional na yung face shield, if I'm not mistaken. So, ano ibig sabihin nun? So, we are slowly inching our way up to recovery. So, para sa akin, kung may 50-50 na system yung ibang schools, I think that's totally fine. And I think, katulad na ng sinabi ko, we have to find some compromise talaga in the situation. Paano natin ma-maintain yung pag-aaral ng ating mga estudyante? And on the other hand, paano natin without sacrificing health or public health? So yun yung answer ko dyan. It's fine.
Okay, daghang salamat, representative from Maasim, Campus Journalist Del Carmen. And now let's proceed to our very last reporter from Maitom Municipality. And he is she is no other than, meron na ba? Ang pangalan po niya sa ating Google Meet is Ultraviolet. Okay, Ultraviolet, go ahead. Please state your real name, Langga, ha, if you are going to ask question kay Sir JR. Please state your real name and from what school you're studying from. Okay? Ultraviolet, go.
Patay yung audio dyan.
Good morning po. My name is Marian Babor from Malalag National High School. Recently po kasi our municipality encountered flash flood that risked a life of one of our teacher from far-flung school. You think, ano po ba ang pwedeng maitutulong ng gobyerno upang di na ito maulit muli?
Wow. Napakahirap na tanong. It's difficult because really, yung mga natural disaster, it's beyond our control. That's the short end of it. Hindi madaling solusyonan ito sa aking opinion dahil ang mga nangyayari ay natural disaster katulad ng flooding. Pero kung ano yung paraan natin na pwedeng mabawasan yung epekto ng flooding sa ating mga lugar, para sa akin dapat gawa ng solusyon. Kunwari, i-make sure natin na yung mga nakakapunta lang sa ating kagubatan ay mga tamang permit. Yung mga pagpangangahoy at pagputol ng mga puno, make sure natin na sana hindi naman makalbo yung mga puno natin. And I'm speaking from experience talaga. Dahil back in early 2010s, isa akong biktima ng bagyong Sendong sa Iligan. At nagkaroon din ng flash flood at buhay pa naman ako, awa ng Diyos. Pero talagang nakita ko yung devastation. And may mga ganun talagang pangyayari kasi talaga natural disasters. So the best thing we can do is to always na i-remind yung ating local government to help out. Marami naman tayong mga trusted na mga government officials, I suppose. So I think that's the only way for them to do some mitigating measures para mabawasan yung mga ganitong epekto. Hindi man natin kayang pigilan yung bagyo, pero at least meron tayong paraan na pag-mitigate ng effect nito. So that's the only way is to reforestation and other environmentally sound projects. That will be my answer.
Okay, dagang salamat Sir JR and our representative from the municipality of Maitom, and that ends our first round ng ating question and answer portion. Can we afford another round of Sir Ariel? Okay. Okay, according to Sir Ariel, we are just going to entertain 3 more questions. After 3
Three more.
questions, wala na po tayo. I-close na po natin yung ating question and answer portion. And this will be facilitated in random. So, paunahan lang po sa pag-raise ng hand and random yung pagpili ni Sir Ariel. So, go ahead na sa mga gustong magtanong. So, we have 3. The first one is Louie Isabel from... basta from Kiamba, si Sir Louie Isabel. Then the second one will be Edelweiss Panding and Theodore Naraga. No? Again, we have the first one is sino nga yung isa? Yung una. Louie Isabel. Louie Isabel, go ahead.
Good morning, Sir J.R. Lopez, and good morning to everyone here. My question to you is, in this year's first virtual district schools press conference theme, how can we young student journalists practice our journalism skills if we ourselves aren't allowed to go out because we are still in the midst of the pandemic?
Okay, I understood the question. So, we should not limit the idea of being a journalist sa pagpunta lamang sa field. Huwag nating limitahan yung ating pag-intindi sa ating trabaho bilang mga mamamahayag. Kinakailangan nating maintindihan na ang sistema na nangyayari ngayon ay dahil nga sa isang epidemya na hindi natin kontrolado. One of the best characteristics of a good journalist is his or her ability to be flexible and to be adaptable. So kinakailangan nating mag-adjust. Hindi man natin kayang kausapin yung isang tao personally. Actually, it affected me personally. Ito ay talagang nangyari sa akin. Meron akong supposed na interview, pero hindi nga pwede person to person, so kinakailangan natin gawin through Zoom. Yun ang ginawa ko for my YouTube channel. So the topic there was yung tax ng BIR sa mga social media influencers at saka mga vloggers. So ang ginawa ko, I contacted a friend who is in London, na isang Pilipino na CPA, at siya ang nag-explain. Dahil hindi ka ako pwedeng mag-contact ng mga friends ko physically. So anong gusto kong sabihin sa answer na ito? Na kaya nating maghanap ng paraan, makakalap ng impormasyon through virtual na pamamaraan. So kayang-kaya yon through Messenger, to Zoom, to Skype. Marami tayong ways na pwede magawa yan. So yun yung answer ko dyan. Hindi natin limitahan yung ating kakayanan na mag-gather ng information kasi ang journalist, hindi talaga nalilimitahan yan ng distansya o ng teknolohiya. Yun ang sagot ko.
Okay, thank you very much. Now let's proceed to our next campus journalist, Edelweiss Panding. Edelweiss, go ahead.
So, good morning to each and everyone. Good morning, sir, and to my fellow participants. My question is, wait lang po. Some people in social media criticize campus journalists who are voicing out their political opinion because they are still too young to vote. Do you think this is a valid action? What advice can you give to those campus journalists?
Okay. I would answer this in 2 ways. First answer would be, being a journalist, being a student journalist for that matter, meron tayong mga responsibilidad. Pangalawa, ang ideya na gusto kong sabihin is sa lahat ng sinasabi natin bilang journalist o bilang isang social media influencer at that, talagang meron talagang masabi yung mga tao. And unfortunately, this has been a natural human Filipino nature. Okay? Parang likas na sa mga Pilipino na mag-criticize at magpuna. Mahilig tayong magbigay ng ating opinion, mahilig tayong magbigay ng opinion sa opinion ng iba. So anong gusto kong sabihin dito? Bilang isang journalist, I highly recommend na first, you have to understand your obligation. Katulad ng sinabi ko, fact check. Katulad ng sinabi ko, be objective. Maging subjective ka lang kung isa kang feature writer, Pero kung isang sensitibong topic katulad ng politika, katulad ng sinabi ko sa keynote speech ko kanina, you have to be more cautious and be more mindful. Diba? Sabi ko nga, think before you click. Isipan mo muna, dapat ko bang i-post to? Kumbaga, ito ba ay magkakos ng away o gulo? At kung magkakos man ito ng gulo, kaya ko bang panindigan at ipaglaban ang aking gustong sabihin? Yun yung mga bagay na kinakailangan mo i-consider. And if buo ang loob mo, naniniwala ka sa gusto mong sabihin, at talagang pinaniniwalaan mo, at meron kang tamang impormasyon na magbaback up ng iyong argumento, it's fine. Huwag ka dapat matakot. Okay, katulad ng sinabi ko, balik ka sa basic ng pagiging journalist. Doon tayo sa totoo, doon tayo sa objective, doon tayo sa may kredibilidad at tamang balita. So once na sinashare mo, there's nothing wrong with that. Be proud of your ideas, be proud of your arguments, be proud na kung ano yung pinapost mo, basta yun ay nanggaling sa tamang pinagbabasehan. Yun ang sagot ko.
So ayan, and we are now down to the last campus journalist who will be asking his question. No, we have now Theodore Naraga from Glan. Okay, Theodore, go ahead.
Hi po, good morning. Today, Naraga po from Glan Central Integrated Test Center. So, here's my question po. What are your insights on the implementation of pilot face-to-face classes yesterday that somehow resulted to some negative outcomes, such as those teachers who tested positive in RT-PCR test? Thank you so much.
Okay, so, naintindihan ko na yung trend ng ating questions. Usually, it's all about tatlo na sa ating questions ngayon ang about sa pilot testing ng ating mga classes. Uulitin ko and I will reiterate nga yung punto ko kanina na sinabi na this is all part of the birth pangs of switching into a new system. This is all part of switching on yung pains and struggles natin is all because of this new transition. So ano ang dapat nating gawin? Well, we just have to survive and cope with it. We have to adjust. That's how I look at it. Dahil marami talagang mga struggles. Totoo yung sinabi nyo na paano pag yung teacher nagkaroon ng positive na results sa kanyang test at iba pang mga posible na mga issues. Again, this is all part of the birth pangs of this new system. So, I entrust na maraming wise decisions ang ating mga each ng mga heads natin or divisions natin sa DepEd na kung nakikita na alanganin, then they have to cancel it, postpone it. Like what I said, this was done in Olongapo yesterday, kung hindi ako nagkakamali. So they have postponed it. So siguro magtiwala din tayo sa wise decision, so wisdom ng ating mga namumuno sa DepEd. So yun lang yung gusto kong sabihin na we have to trust the system, but whether we like it or not, there has to be a compromise. Learning, yung pag-aaral ng ating mga estudyante, at ang concerns on public health. Ganun lang naman. It's always a balance that you have to always consider. It's always a compromise. So yun yung sagot ko dyan.
Okay, and there you have it, ladies and gentlemen, campus journalists and school paper advisors. Diyan po nagtatapos ang ating mini press conference ngayong araw, and I'm sure marami tayong natutunan from our very able speaker na si Sir J.R. Gonzales Lopez, no? Maraming salamat, sir, on behalf of the Division of Sarangani. Maraming salamat for the input and for the valuable views na ipinahagi mo ngayon sa ating mga campus journalists.
Sure.
And,
sure. Siguro final message na lang Gusto
yes,
ko
sir.
sa lahat,
Final message muna from you,
tapos na tayo
sir.
sa questions. Gusto ko lang sabihin na good luck sa mga student journalists natin, sa mga coaches. Sana malampasan natin, makarecover tayo sa pandemya sa lalong madaling panahon. Pero given the situation, I wish you all the best. Kung estudyante ka, nagsusulat ka para sa campus mo, be proud. Maging proud ka sa sarili mo dahil napili ka ng school mo. That by itself is already an achievement. So also, kung kayo ay nagko-compete ngayon sa mga contest ninyo, pakinggan yung mga sinasabi ng mga advice ng inyong mga advisors at mga coaches ninyo dahil lahat ng sinasabi nila para manalo kayo. Lahat ng sinasabi nila para sa improvement ng inyong ability. Kaya maraming salamat. Ako si J.R. Lopez Gonzales. Pwede niyo akong i-follow sa Facebook, sa Instagram. Search niyo lang, Usap-Usap University sa YouTube. Search niyo rin J.R. Lopez Gonzales. Pwede kayo mag-send ng katanungan sa akin personally. Basta meron akong free time katulad ngayon. Okay kayo para sa akin sa Sarangani. Maraming salamat sa inyo.
Okay, daghang salamat once again. All praises to you, sir. Sir J.R. Gonzales Lopez. And again, dyan po nagtatapos ang ating mini press conference.